good to go.
Okay, we're all set.
Great. All right. Kay, if you would call us to order.
Sure. Hello, my name is Kay Johnson, and I'm a member of the Sustainability Advisory Board, filling in for the chair and the vice chair, who are both unexpectedly absent tonight. So the first order of business would be to approve our minutes for our April meeting. And Jasmin, do you want to, before we actually do that, do you want to go over the rules of the
Yes, I forgot.
Zoom.
I forgot to put that in there. This is Jasmin Moore, Sustainability Director, and just a few reminders about joining the meeting virtually. If you are a board member, if you would leave your camera on so that we can see that you're present, and every time that you speak, if you would say your name so that those that are listening just into the audio know who's talking, that would be really helpful. The other reminders are to mute yourself if you are not talking, just so to eliminate some of that background noise. And for members of the public that are attending, you don't have to keep your camera on the whole time. You can just turn it on if you're giving public comment, so that we know you're ready to give public comment. And for any action that's taken, the chair will need to call roll so that we can see and hear verbally who approves or does not approve each item. So I think that's it for now. And if I forgot anything, I may jump in later with a reminder.
All right, thanks, Jasmin. So as I said, my name is Kay Johnson, and we need a motion to approve the minutes. I looked at them, they look fine to me, but I need a motion in a second.
This has been Sikes. I move. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Alice.
When you go, I'll second it. Go ahead.
Okay. I move that we approve the minutes from April.
And was that Allison Kuntz that second, I think?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Allison Kuntz seconds it.
So let me get my gallery view back on. So I will, we need to, we got the motion in the second. So all in favor say aye, and I will say aye first.
And Kate.
And Ben.
Oops.
Aye.
Sarah.
Aye.
Morgan.
Aye.
Deb.
Aye.
It's interesting, Deb, your mouth moved, but we didn't hear your voice right away. So there was a little delay. That was interesting. Then I think Allison is on the phone.
Aye.
Okay, great. Is that everyone? Has anybody else joined? I don't think so. Okay, so the minutes are approved, and we'll go into our agenda items. The last month we talked about breaking into subcommittees so that we could get more work done. And so some people have had a chance, and others, many have not, I think, probably had a chance to schedule these subcommittee meetings. But I'll probably just go down the list and ask if whoever is the SAB champion to report. And if the SAB champion is not available, whoever is available may be able to fill us in on the status of the subcommittees. So the first subcommittee is weatherization. And
Okay.
I think Jack, what was that?
This is Jasmin. We did have a couple people that wanted to give public comment, and so I just wanted
I'm
to,
sorry.
put that out for consideration to move public comment up so those folks could participate first.
Sure, absolutely. I'm sorry, I forgot you'd said that. Okay, so we'll have public comment first. And is can you all manage that? I don't know.
This is Jasmine, yes. So if you would like to give public comment on an item that is not on the agenda, if you would just turn your video on or raise your hand using the feature in Zoom, that would be great. So I see Tony Schmidt is one that would like to give public comment. So go ahead, Tony.
I would. Thank you, Jasmine. Thanks very much. Some of you may recognize me. I'm with Citizens Climate Lobby, and we came and spoke to you guys just before the pandemic hit. And so everything has been kind of sidelined. And we are hopeful of asking you all if maybe we could have a new hearing sometime in a future meeting here. A lot has been happening with our group. In fact, Jasmine was kind enough to let me speak first because we have our monthly Citizens Climate Lobby meeting at 7:00, and I'm trying to get ready for that. But I'm really happy to have this opportunity. We met with our congressional delegation in March, and getting ready to meet with them again in June. We've really got the full court press on this year. It's an important year. We have a lot of support from potential support in the administration with John Kerry and Jenny McCarthy and Janet Yellen and Joe Biden's former junior senator, Chris Coons, all supporting a carbon fee. And I'm just hopeful that we could come in and talk about some of the things that are developing in tandem with the infrastructure and jobs program that the president is working on. But the important thing is we need a few responsible endorsements to help us here in the state of Kansas. We're working hard to get Republicans to engage on this issue. And we have been promoting the Growing Climate Solutions Act, which is a bill that looks very likely to pass Congress here even in the next month that regards carbon sequestration credits for farmers. And, you know, it's a good way to get some of our Kansas people engaged on this issue a little bit on a national level. But we need some help getting entities like Topeka and Pittsburgh chambers of commerce, and you guys would help us tremendously. Just with an endorsement, no commitment. You know, I will say that of our close to 100 endorsers in the House, half of them were also endorsers of the Green New Deal. So, you know, the general consensus is that in Congress, if you're a Democrat, that, you know, let's engage on climate. Let's do what will pass in climate. And ours is one of those important options. You know, it's a complement to anything that we do on the environment. Putting a price on carbon and turning the fees as dividends is only going to help every other thing that we do as far as clean energy promotion. I think I went over my 3 minutes. Sorry about that. Is this an appropriate way to go ahead and ask for a future meeting, Jasmine?
Jasmin Moore, Sustainability Director.
Yes.
So for in this setting, you gave your public comment, and then the board can choose to respond to that now or not. And you could also reach out to board members via email if you would like to get a response that way as well. So the board at this point can choose to have discussion about this, or say thank you for your public comment and consider it at a later time.
Okay, all right. Thank you, everybody. It's good to see you again.
Thank you.
Yes. Bye now.
So I know there are a couple other folks, members of the public, and so if you are a member of the public and would like to give public comment, if you would turn your camera on or raise your hand in Zoom and let me know for an item that's not on the agenda tonight, let me know, and I'll just leave that invitation open for a few more seconds in case there's someone. I do not see anyone who's indicated that they would like to give public comment. So I'll turn it back over to you, Kay.
Okay, I gotta get my agenda back in front of me. So as I was saying, we worked last month on developing our subcommittees. So the first one up is Weatherization program. And since Jackie is not in attendance, Ben, can you report out on this? Did you have a chance to talk to Jackie?
We spoke over email. We haven't yet had a meeting, but there was some trading back and forth. I definitely know Jackie, and I never will be, but I know that Jackie has reached out to city staff members that are responsible for the weatherization program and that they've been completely redesigning it this year. So they're also, I think, in favor of us thinking outside of the box and not necessarily relying on how it was done in the past. In particular, one of the key characteristics previously was that there wasn't a measure of effectiveness of the program previously. So going forward, one of the items that they were in favor of was doing energy audits before and after to measure efficiency gains, essentially. And that one of the central goals of the program is to include, providing a true benefit to the city's low-income homeowners in terms of energy efficiency of their homes. Jackie had some more information from them, and her and I have started editing a Google Doc to discuss when we meet next, but we haven't yet figured out that exact time, or if other people might be brought into the subcommittee.
That's great. Thanks, Ben. Now, if I may ask a question, would that, after the audit, would a private contractor be selected to do the energy weatherization, or would the city have responsibility for that?
That's a really good question, Kay, and I'm not actually sure how it was done previously. So I'm not sure if it would continue to be done that way, or maybe it would be done in a new way if it would be a private contractor or the city. But that's definitely something that I can ask, and that Jackie and I can make sure to talk about.
Yeah,
I don't even know if the audits themselves might be a private contractor or it might be the city. That would be important points.
I know that auditors have not been as gainfully employed as they would have liked to have been during the COVID situation. I've seen that reported. And so that would be really great if private contractors would be, available to do that kind of work or bid on that, or however that would work out. Okay, thank you very much. And the next one is the climate action plan. And Makakwa and Kira, I don't believe Kira is on the phone either. We have not had a meeting, but we have traded dates for a meeting, and I don't know if I haven't seen that one was set. So I don't have any particular information about that. The next one would be the weeds ordinance, and that would be to revise the ordinance so that urban farming and food trees would be included and not, and probably native plants would not be discriminated against, which I believe that the weeds ordinance does that. So, Ben, you're the champion for SAB for that.
Yeah, and we've got a great committee. Sarah and Kira are both contributing, and we did have a short meeting on May 3rd to just talk about subcommittee membership and generally what our goals were. And I think we had a really good kind of foundation there. Since then, Michael Almon and Courtney Masterson, two people in the community that represent kind of different aspects of the important elements that we want to think about with the weed ordinance, have agreed to be on the subcommittee as well. So members of the community are participating. And we have scheduled an upcoming meeting for next week where we will all meet, Sarah, Kira, Courtney, and I, and Michael. And I think Michael's on here as well. And one of the things that we talked about in our short meeting also is that in this meeting, we just wanted to make a quick announcement that, if anybody else wants to participate or has a vested interest in what happens with the weed ordinance or particular aspects of that, we welcome other membership on the subcommittee as well.
And again, I might add, I don't think you have to have the title weed ordinance. So if you're thinking about changing something, maybe the title should be changed. It's kind of a weird title for that ordinance. Just
I think
suggestion from my part.
It's part of it helps us focus. I think at the beginning here is to just think carefully about what we can get done in a reasonable amount of time. And since that's kind of the genesis for this, I think it's a good seed, but no pun intended. But I do think we may expand outside of that. Just simply the weed ordinance to think more holistically about plantings and what the city should think about what lawns look like and what horticulture looks like and how people plant. And I think Kira is a strong advocate. She ripped up her whole lawn and converted it to resilient drought agriculture stuff. So we definitely have, I think, a broad range of different opinions about how that can work. Looks like Dawn has her hand up as well. So
how does that work, Jasmin? Can she speak at that now?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. This is Jasmin, Sustainability Director. You can open this up to public comment as you go through each one or at the end or however you like. So
probably be just as easy to do it right now. So Dawn, if you have suggestion or comments.
Hi, thank you. Dawn Hawkins, rural Douglas County. I didn't know how this was going to work on the when I looked at the agenda. I thought maybe you'd be talking about each one. But so my main question is, how do I let the board know the things that I would be interested in? Because I don't know. I don't see anything online as far as how you sign up. So that's a question. But also regarding the weed ordinance, and I also think that it's a ridiculous name. It's a good time to work with the county because they're completely reviewing their plan. And I realize there are a lot of differences there, but and I'm not sure logistically how that would work if you need to, this subcommittee needs to be established on its own. But this board represents Douglas County too, or no, it's just Jasmin works for both city and county. Okay, I always get that mixed up. Anyway, so I don't know. It might be worth communicating with some county staffers about how efforts could be coordinated so the people who are interested at all levels about these particular issues could, I don't know, seems more efficient. That's all. Just to maybe connect with the county folks. And I'm interested in both the climate subcommittee and the weed ordinance committee. Thanks.
Thanks, Dawn. Ben, you could put her on your list, and I think Jasmin probably has Dawn's contact information, I believe. Don't you, Jasmin?
This is Jasmin. Yes, I do.
if you would just put it in the chat again, that would be helpful, and I'll make sure to get it to Ben. On the point of how to join subcommittees, one of the things that was discussed last time was just inviting the public to email champions directly. So if that still works, then I'll just put that in the minutes as the direction
Okay,
Does that sound okay?
that works for me.
Head nods. And then Ben, do you have if anyone wanted to join your upcoming meeting next week, do you have details that we could share tonight or not quite yet?
I do. We wrangled schedules to figure out which time would work, but I can, I just have to look it up on my email of what it was because I don't have it off the top of my head. And I
Maybe
should have,
put it in the chat.
I can do that. I should have also, oh, Sarah's got it. I was just going to say, Sarah, you're on here. So if you have anything to add, since you were part of the meeting too, I'd really appreciate any kind of supplement that you had. I probably didn't capture it all.
Hi, this is Sarah Chenoweth here, board member. To kind of, well, to Dawn's point about the city and the county, that is something that we did talk about, and that Michael actually, I think, was the one who kind of told us how that works. But the city ordinance is very different from the county ordinance, which is a little more governed by the state. So I'm always down to helping out that larger group. But I think that the way we talked about it, we are right now focusing on the city ordinance because that's something different, right?
I believe that's right. And I think, our advisory board in its capacity has the ability to make recommendations to the city, even though those may have, stimulate discussions at the county level. I did also reach out. Michael is fairly familiar with all the human beings that we might need to contact. And Brian Jimenez is one of the enforcement people for the city that enforces this weed ordinance. And so I did reach out by email just to ask if he would have time to discuss like what they kind of like Jackie had done, the city employees, what they see as the big challenges. So hopefully he might even be able to join us at this meeting or talk to him in a separate capacity. But yeah, thank you very much, Sarah,
And also, Sarah Chenoweth again, board member. I just wanted to add, just for the public and so everyone knows, that we are talking about equity issues also in relation to this ordinance and how it affects different people in different areas differently. So
That's good. All right. I think that is it. Thanks, Dawn and Sarah and Ben for contributing for that. And the next one is clean energy and energy efficiency for city operations. And I am the SAB champion for that. So this is Kay Johnson again. So we have been, I have reached out to Jasmin, and our task is to look at city operations and moving and identifying what city provided resources are available toward clean energy. And we're also looking at public transportation. So because this affects several of the different departments, I've asked Jasmin about including other department representatives. So in our subcommittee, and Allison is also on our committee. So we're in the process of setting up a time, maybe next week, to meet. We haven't got the date set. But we also wouldn't mind having any member of the public that's interested in joining us. That would be great too. And you can just email me or put it in the chat. I think all of our emails are on the city website as members. So I think people can get our email addresses from that. Isn't that right, Jasmin?
Jasmin Moore, Sustainability Director. Yes, all the emails are on the Sustainability Advisory Board website. I'll also include them in the minutes just as a easier way to reference them if folks are looking for them in association with this meeting.
Okay. And let's see, the next one is energy efficiency and codes and energy conservation for green buildings. And Deb Ford is the SAB champion. So Deb, do you want to talk about that?
Yes, this is Deb Ford, board member. We have not met as a group yet. We have a Zoom meeting set up for next Monday, this coming Monday, where we'll set timelines for meeting and processes for getting through the recommendations to the board. And if anyone wants to join, let us know. I can add you to the Zoom call that we're having on Monday. I believe it we settled for 3:00.
I have a question for Jasmin. You know, in the last meeting, we made a recommendation about, was that for vehicle charging stations? And I'm trying to remember for sure.
This is Jasmin.
I don't recall, so if you could
Okay.
elaborate, that would be helpful.
Well, what was the recommendation that we made right at it's probably right in the minutes, the very first thing. It was a recommendation for a grant.
Oh.
And
Yes, this is Jasmin, Sustainability Director. Yes, that was to write a letter of support for Lawrence Transit to apply for some additional electric buses.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll put that in the subcommittee that I'm working on. I was trying to remember if that had to do with vehicle charging stations, and it clearly does not. But I'm wondering if there are some people that would be interested in joining that have an interest in the vehicle charging stations in this subcommittee. Do we know where the city, are there city vehicle charging stations that are municipal charging stations?
This is
Jasmin, Sustainability Director. Currently, we do not have any electric vehicles in the city fleet. We do have a vehicle charging station on city land that's available. Right now, that's at Rock Chalk Park. And there are plans to install at least one other location currently. So it's on the radar, but we don't have a specific plan as of right now. That can change quickly, but that's the current state.
Okay, thanks. I was just curious. Sorry, Deb. Do you have other things you want to add?
No, but part of our meeting on Monday, I was planning on discussing the different organizations that we can reach out to, and one is just the city zoning department and code department to see where they're standing out and what they're thinking of future improvements would be. And then I've got contacts with code consultants and engineers that can help us with ordinances that might help that they've been working through in other cities and localities. So we can branch out to see what's happening with the electric charging stations because I know that some places like Hy-Vee and everything are doing, and that might be part of zoning, local zoning. And I haven't worked in Lawrence for a while as an architect, so I need to reach out and brush up what is already in the plans and what they're thinking about in the future.
I think that is great. Okay. Well, thanks, Deb. I think that is that concludes the section on our subcommittees. So we'll move.
Kate?
Oh, sorry.
This is Jasmin, Sustainability Director. It looks like Michael has
Hand up for public comment. Go ahead, Michael.
Hi, yeah, thank you. I'm Michael Almon with Sustainability Action Network. My comment actually was back on number 4, the energy efficiency in city operations. You may have noticed that Lawrence now electricity use is at about 98%. I think Jasmin might confirm that. There was an EPA award recently. Lawrence is in the top 30 local cities on their green energy list because we have 98% of our the city operations electricity, 98%. So as far as city operations go, in number 4, most of your focus really should be on the city vehicle fleet. Jasmin just said that we have no electric vehicles in the fleet, and that's true. And there's some, Jasmin, I don't know if you might know the number. I think there's some 300 or more vehicles in the fleet. I met with the mayor and a couple other commissioners, just one-on-one, not as a group, recently about their plan for a central maintenance facility at the old farmland site, maintenance garage and fuel depot, household hazardous waste, putting Parks and Recreation, putting it all in one place. And they have this huge fuel depot plan there, you know, for diesel and gasoline. And I pointed out, your goal has city energy use 100% renewable energy by 2035. We already got the electricity. Now it's the vehicles. Now it's the fossil fuels. And their vehicle replacement cycle is every 12 to 15 years. Any given vehicle is recycled, is replaced. And if they're going to have a 100% electric vehicle fleet by 2035, just do the math. When do they have to start changing those electric vehicles? It's pretty much now. And this whole facility on the east side of town has to be designed for electric vehicles, not fossil fuel vehicles. The bus maintenance garage, which is up by the Evergy coal plant, they're going to have 5 electric buses. They're going to put electric charging stations there. The city needs to put electric charging stations for the city fleet all over town. So I just wanted to make sure that you have that on your radar. You know, the electricity question isn't a biggie anymore. The building envelopes and energy efficient windows question, it's not a biggie anymore. You're pretty much accomplished that. Now it comes down to the vehicles for the most part. So just to point that out to you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
As we start to discuss these things with the different departments, that will be real important to ask. We shouldn't be putting the old things in if they're building new. So the new technology needs to follow these buildings. So
This is Ben Sikes. Kay, can I ask a question as well? Ben Sikes, Sustainability Board Member. And it's a bit about what you're asking about charging stations. I guess my question, and maybe Jasmin, you can answer this. Does the city have any kind of program to subsidize, offer tax incentives or anything like that for private companies that put electric charging stations on their property? You know, the city can affect what we put on our property, but obviously through tax incentives and things like that, they can encourage those kind of things throughout the city. Is there anything like that going on right now or no?
Jasmin Moore, Sustainability Director, no. There are currently no incentives for private installation from the city's perspective. There are still some federal rebates, I know, related to electric vehicles. I'm not sure if some of those rebates can be applied to electric vehicle charging infrastructure as well. I know for vehicle purchases, there's still some federal incentives related to that. But on the city side, there are currently no incentives.
Well, that's really good to know. I would think that with some of the federal money that should be coming from the infrastructure, if that ever gets passed through Congress and signed by the president, that we might see some extra incentive funds that might be available for that sort of thing. But I think definitely we should be looking at plans for that. Thanks for bringing that up, Ben. Okay, so does anybody else have any questions before we move on to the staff report? Perfect. Okay, thank you. And let's move on. Jasmin.
Jasmin Moore, Sustainability Director. First, just one of the administrative items. Lily Mitchell recently resigned from SAB in this last month. So there is one board opening for the Sustainability Advisory Board. That term expires December 2021. So we're looking for applicants currently, and the mayor will make a recommendation to the city commission. He's pretty good about doing that pretty quickly. So if there's any members of the public that are interested in joining this group, then there's an opportunity and a link on the city's website on how to join. So that's the first thing. And then wanted to give a status update on the recommendations from the Sustainability Advisory Board to the City Commission. There are two current outstanding recommendations. The first is the single-use bag ordinance recommendation. This one is pretty much ready to go to the City Commission. The City Commission and the City Manager's Office work together to schedule items for consideration by the Commission, and this one has been on the future agenda items list for a while now, and in this last year was put on pause as the pandemic played out, and a little bit of the Kansas legislature as well. So right now, staff is just waiting for a signal from the City Commission that they're ready to put this on their agenda for consideration and discussion. So there's not much more to report at this point on that item. We're just waiting for the green light.
So Jasmin, before you go on, so while the Sustainability Advisory Board has done its part, as individuals, we could possibly discuss this with the mayor and others to urge them to move that along.
Yes, you can always reach out to a commissioner to talk with them about, what you would like to see happen. And you're right, like not as a board, but as a individual member, you're welcome to do that.
All right, thanks.
The second item is related to sorry, I'm just looking at my notes here. This board made a recommendation related to solar readiness for new construction about a year ago. And to be frank, it just got lost in the shuffle as things were starting to shut down last year. So since I realized that, we picked it back up, and I've met with the planning staff from the planning department to discuss what the implications would be. And so I'm working on a staff report that will go to the City Commission. If you recall last year, for a recommendation like this that's related to the code, it would be the City Commission would consider the recommendation, and they would direct staff to initiate a text amendment to change the code. So that's the trigger that would happen. That's the action that would be taken at the City Commission level. So they could either choose to not do anything or to direct staff to do that text amendment. So I'm working on getting that scheduled now, and so that's the update on the solar readiness piece. Are there any questions on either of those?
Michael Almon has his hand up. Jasmin, I don't have any questions.
Okay. Go ahead, Michael.
Okay, thank you, Michael Almon. The single-use bag ordinance was first put on the City Commission future agenda item list last August 8th, and it was actually scheduled for a couple sessions and then pulled off the city agenda. So my question is for Jasmin. I assume if it's, as they say, shovel ready, that you've already created a staff report for that?
Jasmin Moore, Sustainability Director. Yes.
A staff report, and the City Attorney's Office has put together an ordinance of what that would look like.
Good. Okay. Well, could you please send me a copy of that staff report?
This is Jasmin Morris, Sustainability Director. I'll just check internally just to see if there's any challenges with that, and then I'll get you something.
Okay, thank you.
Probably it would be a good idea, Jasmine, if you gave that to the SAB board as well. Whatever you probably send out would be a good idea to give to us.
Happy to do it.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Questions on either of those two items?
Okay. So Jasmin Moore, Sustainability Director. We have a few other things that are exciting that I'm happy to report on. Michael shared one of them related to our energy use and how the City of Lawrence is being recognized as a top user of green energy by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. So we're in the top 30 of cities in the country that are using clean energy. So that's pretty exciting. And then the other thing related to energy is that Evergy recently announced that they will start to shut down the coal-powered plant that's in Lawrence, the Lawrence Energy Center, and hopefully transition that to a clean energy source for possibly solar or possibly wind. So that transition is starting now and is scheduled to be completely closed down the plant by 2023. The statements from Evergy have said that the folks that are working currently at the Lawrence Energy Center, they will be transitioned into other functions within the organization, and so those won't be jobs that are lost. They'll just be reallocated to another assignment. So that's the big news in energy. Also wanted to share that we are having another electronic recycling event on June 5th, which is a Saturday. So the last one we had was last fall, and we had overwhelming amount of people show up, which is great. And we also realized that, we need to have them at a higher frequency. So we will be having that event from 8:30 to 1 o'clock on Saturday, June 5th on the KU campus in lot 301. It's going to be another drive-through event to minimize any personal contact. There will continue to be a fee for the CRT TVs, those big cathode ray TVs. And we'll accept payment on site for that. We're looking for volunteers. So if anyone is willing to come and help direct traffic along the way, that would be really great. And I'll put in the minutes, and we have on our website a link to sign up to volunteer for that event. We're looking for about 20 to 30 people to help expedite the process. So that is coming up soon. The other thing that is exciting is that we have started our gleaning project. So I mentioned a couple months ago that we received a grant from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and so we were able to hire someone part-time to help us with our food recovery efforts, which is a big part of our food system plan. And so we are working in partnership with a couple organizations. One is After the Harvest, which is based in Kansas City and expanding into Douglas County. And the other is Community Organized Gleaners. And we are working in partnership with those organizations to go out to farms in Douglas County and help take the extra produce off their hands of sometimes they might, the produce might be a little too ugly to sell at the market or to businesses, or it might just be that they're ready to clear out that bed of or that row of lettuce and they just don't have time to process it all. And so they'll call us out and We're working with volunteers, so again, here's another opportunity for folks to get involved, to go out and harvest some greens. This week we did lettuce, and so far we've had, I think, 3 gleans, and we've harvested over 200 pounds of produce that we were able to send directly to Just Food, the Lawrence Shelter, and some of our other community partners. So we're really excited that that program is up and running now, and we're able to connect healthy fresh food with folks who need it most. And then a few more things. One is that the downtown master plan draft has been released for public comment. So I would highly encourage board members as well as anyone in the public to look at that plan, review it, and provide your input. There have been several opportunities to provide input along the way in the development of the plan. This is another opportunity. So it's pretty close to final. And so if you would take a look at it, the values of this board, the commitments that you recommended to the City Commission related to the Green New Deal. Look closely for some of those things that weren't in place when the plan started, the plan development started, but there might be opportunities to strengthen those things before it's adopted in its final form. So I'll make sure to include that link in the minutes as well. And then a lot of...
All right, Jasmin.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, just on that point, this is Ben Sikes, SAB member, whatever, sorry. I'm just curious if you have perspective or if it would be possible to understand the key sustainability points that are in that downtown master plan, rather than us independently all trying to figure out exactly what the elements are there. If there has been things that have been suggested in the past that are definitely highlighted or that you feel have been integrated in the master plan, it'd be great for just like a bulleted list of those. Or I know we're the ones that maybe should come up with how it could be better sustainability wise, but if there are already elements in there that have been impacted, that would be really nice to know.
Jasmin Moore, Sustainability Director. That has not been done in a consolidated format, but I can make it a first go at that and share with you.
Thank you very much. That'd be fantastic. Sorry to give you another thing to do. I know you have a lot.
Go ahead, Kate.
Hi, Kate Johnson, SAB member. You usually provide a director's report. I didn't see a link to that this time. So I didn't see that. Did it just not get done? Did you just not have a chance to?
I just didn't have a chance to put it together. So
that's fine. Maybe you could send that out as soon as you finish that, because that way, because there's all the specific information about the electronics recycling drive and some of those sorts of things that might be useful to us. I'd like to pass it on to my company.
Jasmin Moore, Sustainability Director. Yes, I will. It's pretty close to being ready, so it should be ready when I upload the minutes later this evening.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, one more thing that I wanted to share is that as it relates to the strategic plan, we've been talking about this for a long time. Environmental sustainability is a core commitment of the strategic plan. The strategic plan is designed to directly inform the development of the budget for 2022. So staff is working on that right now. It's scheduled to, the budget recommendation from the city manager is scheduled to be in front of the City Commission for consideration in July. So over these next 6 weeks or so, staff is working really hard to put together a budget that aligns with the strategic plan. So I wanted to just put that on your radar and just keep an eye out for that. Like I said, the intent is that we're thinking differently about how we are allocating our resources to make sure that they are better aligned with what we're trying to do as a community. So that's where a lot of my time has been spent over this last month is working on the strategic plan and as it relates to the budget. And then the other thing that I wanted to elevate is related to federal dollars that are coming to our community. The first of which is related to the coronavirus state and local funds. So we got some direction as of Monday of what exactly that looks like. And so staff is in the process of digesting that 200-page document to figure out what best aligns with our strategic plan, as well as our COVID recovery and response efforts. So it's encouraging. There are some things in there related to green infrastructure. There are things in there related to how we can best support our food system and food workers. And so there are some things that are directly connected to our strategic plan and environmental sustainability specifically that I think if we can really direct these funds in a way to accelerate our progress on the strategic plan, I think there's a big opportunity for that. As far as the infrastructure bill that's in the works, and Kay mentioned this earlier, that's another big opportunity that I see. And so staff is keeping a close eye on the development of that. And as soon as we have more assurances that it's in a close to final stage, then we'll really get into the weeds related to what opportunities can we take advantage of to bring those federal dollars to Lawrence and advance the goals that we have. The overall direction for those funds from the Biden administration include many of the elements that you all have talked about as it relates to the Green New Deal. So I'm feeling very optimistic that the City of Lawrence is in a really great position to take advantage of that, because we should be really closely aligned with the values and the direction that are shaping that large infrastructure bill. So those are some of the things that we'll be working on. I anticipate over the next several months is figuring out how we can best make sure that we're bringing those dollars to Lawrence as much as we can. So I think that was my final item. Does anyone have any questions about any of those things? I'll get the
No, but
the
I
links.
think that's really great, Jasmin. This is KSAB board member. I was around when federal stimulus money was sent to cities many years ago, and that was a lot of it was associated with emissions reductions. So if I could suggest one thing that you should consider, any of the projects that you're looking at and considering, that you would do something to show similar to what they were talking about with the weatherization, in that you ought to be able to calculate the emissions reductions when you are doing infrastructure or green infrastructure type bills. So there are funds and projects. So you ought to be able to demonstrate that that you are, using the money to improve the environmental sustainability situation. I would suggest you keep that in mind when those plans are being developed.
This is Jasmin Moore, Sustainability Director. Thanks for that reminder, Kay.
I think that is also consistent with where the strategic plan is going as well. There's going to be key performance indicators for the different outcomes and really looking at ways to measure our progress. So I think you're right on target there. I did want to mention, because I forgot about this, the coronavirus local recovery funds does call out specifically weatherization and utility assistance and home repair. So in thinking about the weatherization program and Ben, the work that you and Jackie have started on, there may be, it looks like there's going to be an opportunity for more funds to come in to support that work. So, so wanted to provide that as well.
I think that's really great. Okay, thank you for that report. If there's no other comments or questions, we could move on. And I don't know if you want to cover this, Jasmin, because you've put future agenda items. So maybe you should also discuss that.
Kay, this has been Sikes, SAB board member. I was just wanted to extend, I don't think Deb or Morgan were here for our last meeting when we kind of talked about champions and committees and stuff. I know Deb got pulled onto one kind of historically, but if any of you guys also are interested, of course, in being in these subcommittees, just sing out and we'll make sure to get you on. Besides the public at large, we definitely want anybody on SAB that didn't get an opportunity to definitely.
Thanks for saying that, Ben. I appreciate that. Yes, absolutely, Morgan and others.
Hi, yeah, Morgan Orozco, SAB member. I just talked to Jasmin about this in the chat. I'm going to email the chairs of the respective subcommittees that I want to join. So, yeah.
Oh, good. Fantastic. Okay, Jasmin, do you want to cover those future items?
Yeah, this is Jasmin Moore, Sustainability Director.
So some of these are carried over from the discussion that you all have had over the last couple months related to topics that you weren't ready to elevate to a priority, but you wanted to learn more about. And so those are carried over. There is a new one, which is listed first, which is the Environment, Health, and Science Municipal Services Operations Programs. So this is an attempt to create a learning opportunity for you all related to some of the environmental programs that we have internally. So that department would like the opportunity to come and share with you what they've been working on and some of the things that they have in the works. So we've talked about doing that at the June meeting. So that is on the schedule as a future agenda item, as well as the other 5 items there that have been carried over from the discussion related to priorities and what you all wanted to learn more about.
I think the June meeting would be really good for the municipal services operations. It really does impact almost all of our priorities in some way or another. So it would be good if that's on the agenda. I'm all in favor for having that stay on the June meeting.
This is Jasmin, Sustainability Director. That's the members of that staff are ready to and will be prepared to present in June to this group.
So do you have a time period that they would present? Do they, I think in the past it was like 20 minutes. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, this is Jasmin again. Yeah, we want to make sure that there's plenty of time for discussion as well. So we'll ask them to present for, less than, 20 minutes or less, and then have some time if there's any questions and interaction. This is a group that the Municipal Services and Operations realizes that there's a lot of connections between the work that you all are doing and how that it filters down to their work every day. And so wanting to create a relationship so that you all know more about what they do and can reach out when you need to and ask questions about the work that they do.
I noticed that there's one on clean water and conservation practices in the bullets. Would that be the group that would also talk about stormwater and conservation practices for the municipal government for the city of Lawrence?
Jasmin Moore, Sustainability Director. Yeah, that's one of the things that I talked with them about. So that's something that they could potentially wrap into their presentation, or if there's more specific information. So I'm thinking, yes, they'll touch on that in the presentation, and then if anyone wants more detail, then we can arrange for another presentation, or even if it's just a few members that are interested in digging into that more, we can arrange a meeting outside of a SAB meeting for those members to learn more about that topic.
Okay, cool. So I also have an that is not on this list, but before I ask this question, does anybody else have anything to add for those future agenda items?
This is Sarah Chenoweth, board member. I was just wondering, for those of you regarding the very first gentleman who spoke in public comment, for those of you who heard that presentation last time, is that something that you all think would be valuable for some of us new members to hear, or what about that?
Well, I think the last time and that we talked about it, we heard the presentation in subcommittee as well as in our board. We had decided then, but that doesn't mean that we would have to do that now, but we decided then that we would wait until we got our subcommittees going to see where that type of thing would fit. And it's possible that might fit in that climate change subcommittee. But I'm not the one to say that. I'm just telling you what we've done in the past. Does anybody else have any comments on that?
So just to clarify, Kay, this is Ben Sikes, SAB member. The Citizens Climate Lobby presentation, if you're thinking about how that would work out, that would be, you would advocate for that being a presentation to a subcommittee that was more specifically about those elements potentially before it comes to the full committee?
Well, it never did come to the full committee as an action item. We discussed it several times, but there are many questions that were not answered the last time. And I know that they've been trying to work on those, so it's possible that they have more answers. My personal concern is that it would allow business and industry to not have to follow air quality rules. So there's a lot of different ins and outs of that particular agenda item, and you know, since it's at the federal level, I just am personally very concerned about that still. But I'm just speaking for myself. So it seemed to me that when we discussed it the last time, we were going to hold it over and put it back into the climate adaptation plan, because there are aspects of it that are really good. And I just, you know, personally, I just don't think they've worked out all the details yet, and they couldn't give us the answers to some of those questions. They may have done that now, I don't know. So I guess, in other words, I'm still willing to listen to their presentations again. But I think it ought to be at that subcommittee level.
That makes sense as a future agenda item for the subcommittee, but not necessarily at the full board level then.
Right. And obviously anybody can, if we have him at a presentation by that group at the subcommittee, anybody could attend the subcommittee, except that I think the only thing that we have to be careful with is how many board members are in attendance at a time, because we don't want a quorum. We don't want to have an open meetings violation.
This is Jasmin, Sustainability Director. So just a reminder about what that number is. Anytime there are 6 or more board members, then that constitutes as quorum. So it would need to be a maximum of 5 that could attend any of the subcommittee meetings. 5 board members.
So I suppose that we could have a couple of meetings if it approached a problem, we could probably do it so that several could attend if we had 2 different meetings so that we wouldn't have a problem with that.
I think if there's more than 6 or more that want to attend, we should just do it during this
The
Wednesday
board.
meeting.
That's probably a
Yeah.
good idea, Deb. That's reasonable. And maybe that's what we could do. We could just have a poll and ask.
This is Jasmin, Sustainability Director. Would you like me to send that
To
out?
the board and see if there's interest or who's interested, and then that will determine if that needs to go in a subcommittee or the larger meeting.
That sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Thanks, Jasmine. So are there other discussion items about future agenda? One of my questions, this is outside of that topic, is, and did anyone ever get appointed to the capital program review? Jasmine, the Sustainability Advisory Board has a option to have someone represent us on that committee. Did someone ever get appointed?
Jasmin Moore, Sustainability Director. I think you're referring to the Public Incentive Review Committee.
Yes, sorry. I
And
can't
yes,
remember the name.
there is a member that was appointed, and we talked about this last month, and I neglected to reach out to them. So I will commit to doing that, because last month you talked about just wanting to establish that connection so that they can provide feedback back to you all about what discussions are happening in that board. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
Yes, because they had some incredibly good discussions. I don't know if they meet every month, but I happened to listen to one of the last ones, and it was a very good discussion. And I kept thinking the whole time, I wonder if any of those people are representing the SAB, because I didn't know who that was. And but there were some really good discussions about what has been proposed, and there were some good votes making recommendations for those incentives. So I think that we should, if not monthly, at least have a quarterly discussion. And I don't know how far in advance the committee has to know what is coming before their agenda. But definitely some of those items were really interesting and good to know. So if you could talk to that person and we figure out, I mean, I don't know if you want to say who it is or not, but.
Yes, this is Jasmin Moore, Sustainability Director. Kate Lorenz is the person who was selected from the recommendations based on from this board. So I'll reach out to her and talk with her about connecting back with SAB so we can.
That would be great. And if I had to guess, that's who I thought it was, but I wasn't sure.
This is Ben Sikes, board member Jasmin. I'm curious. I think I asked this last time. I know the city has now approved the budget amendment that increased several positions. I'm just wondering if some of those amendments, the change in budgets, you think will impact your department or sustainability overall in terms of city municipal functions.
Jasmin Moore, Sustainability Director. My office is not impacted by those increases. We are working on budget requests for 2022 that would hopefully add some more capacity to the work that we are doing. But the ones that were recently approved, those aren't positions that are related to my office. Now, all that to say, within the context of the strategic plan, environmental sustainability should be all of our work at the city. And so, one interpretation of that expansion of staff is that it increases the capacity of those departments so that they can do more of integrating those commitment areas, including equity, including environmental sustainability and others, into the work of each department. So, so not directly, but hopefully indirectly, that increases some capacity to do more on environmental sustainability.
That's a good question, Ben. So I guess now we can open it up if there's no more questions about agenda items or future items for member updates. I don't particularly have any update, except that I did see that I think this is really cool, that Mattel is going to start recycling toys on certain brands. And I will find the link and provide that, because individuals that have Barbies, and I think it's Hot Wheels cars, and I can't remember some other block that I can't remember the name of. There's currently 3 brands that Mattel is going to have a take back program. And I guess they said that during COVID, a lot of parents were buying a lot of toys, and they want to make sure that the toys don't end up in landfills. So they're going to be recycling those into additional toys or into other areas. And I thought that was kind of cool. So I will be glad to provide the link, and I intend to send some toys to Mattel. My children are 35, no, 35. So it's time to do that. That's all I have for an update.
Hi, this is Sarah Chenoweth, SAB board member. I'm the liaison to the Food Policy Council, and we have a meeting next week, but I just thought that I would give a quick update that the county, like the health department, the way that they're working together, has just got a grant to kind of start a pilot for expanding the Common Ground community gardening program. So it's just starting, but they're looking at how to do that throughout the city. So I think that that's exciting, as well as being really involved in the discussions around the transit redesign to try to make sure that transit takes in mind getting people to where they can buy healthy, nutritious food. So just wanted to make that update. Thanks.
Sarah, it seems to me like it would be a good idea, since you're our liaison, would it be possible, Jasmin, to put Sarah on the monthly agenda and just, I mean, she's meeting on a regular basis. It would be great if we had a regular update from her.
This is Jasmin,
Facility Director. I think you can either plan to do it in member updates, or if it could be that if you have something that is going to take some time, that you just let me know and we'll put it on as a formal agenda item. And then that way we can budget more time for that. I also just wanted to add for the Common Ground grant that you mentioned, we haven't gotten it yet, but we did apply. So just wanted to correct that. Hopefully next month we'll be able to announce that we got it, but we don't know yet.
That's really cool, though. So do we have others? Ben, do you have anything you want to add?
Kay's got my number. She's like, oh, Ben adds a lot of stuff. Ben, what do you have to add?
You're doing all sorts of stuff, Ben.
I don't think I have anything to add specifically for SAB. I appreciate it.
Deb, how about you?
No, not specifically.
Morgan.
I don't have anything. Thank you, though.
Don't forget about Allison.
Oh, yeah, Allison.
I do not have any additions. Thanks.
All right. I can't think of anything else. Do we have I suppose we're going to end early. Oh my gosh. Do we have any additional items? One more time, going once. There is, I see that Michelle Gundy is available. Wonder if she would like to unmute and add anything from the city perspective.
Hi, Kay, thanks.
Hi.
No.
If your name's there, you're going to get called on.
We did fun stormwater outreach to some kids today, and they're in the Atchison tributary to Yankee Tank Creek, but they're gonna do a cleanup in that along that creek, and so we're just kind of looking for more opportunities to do more outreaches like that. And so,
do you have regular cleanups? Do you have regular public scheduled cleanups?
We don't. And so that's kind of one of the things with our MS4, our stormwater permit, that we're going to look to increase here in the coming months and years. And then it's just getting busy with construction season and keeping track of who's letting soil get into the stormwater and kind of slapping a few hands there. So.
Yeah, it's a busy time right now, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, I wondered, there are some voluntary efforts in other locations in other cities that have regular river cleanups. And to me, it would be kind of cool if, the city of Lawrence could do that too.
Yeah, I agree. And I know just in my neighborhood and other neighborhoods, they kind of pick that up on their own a lot of times. And this was an HOA that we presented to today, and they got the kids involved. And so maybe that's one angle to go at it.
I have seen that the city of Wichita has done, they kind of have a hamburger cookout. They do a lot of different things to get people to come help. They give gloves, they give all kinds of different things for cleanup. So maybe that's something that City of Lawrence might consider.
Yeah, I think so. And we might, if I could maybe touch base with you and get some contacts in Wichita and see how they do it.
Sure, I'd be glad to do that, especially like maybe before the 4th of July when all of the fireworks are going down by, before or after, with all the fireworks.
Yeah.
Be glad to do that. So is there anyone else? Jasmin, do you have anything? I guess I could ask Dawn real quick. Dawn Hawkins, do you have anything else to add?
No, but thanks for asking.
Well, I guess we need a motion to adjourn the meeting and a second.
This is Allison Kuntz, and I move that we end the meeting.
All right, thank you. Is there a second?
Sarah Chenoweth, I'll second.
Okay. So all in favor of adjourning the meeting, I think we can wave our hands and leave. So I don't think we have to have a roll call count. Thank you, Jasmin.
Thank you, Kay. Thanks for stepping up.
We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.